Hi, my name is Olivier Girardot. I'm a music composer and a sound designer. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I have already mentioned the game Exocorps in a couple of videos before. The principle of the game is to eliminate every other player and be the last survivor.
There can be only one!
In a previous video, I showcased the jetpack sound effect I did. And after receiving lots of requests, I'm going to show you how I created it.
So here is my work session. There's quite a lot going on, as you can see, something like 17 tracks. Let's listen to the whole sound again. This jetpack sound is divided in 3 parts. Here we can see the different parts. The engine on, here is the flying part, and the engine off section. Let's have a look at the engine on part and mute the 2 others. As you can see, I used several layers to create this sound. I wanted the ignition to sound quite brutal and intense. I used this loud flame sound that I had in my library to illustrate the flame bursting from the jetpack. By the way, here's a little trick you may already know to give your sounds more size by enhancing the stereo spreading. To do so, you just need to double your track, and on the panning scale, you place one track at the far right and the other at the far left. But at this point you will only hear the sound louder due to the fact that you doubled it. In order for the trick to work, you need to slightly move one of the 2 tracks so that they are not perfectly aligned. And the magic happens. To this bursting flame sound, I added an impact sound that I had previously created to emphasize the bursting effect. Then I used an electronic and mechanical sound that I recorded from a camera to illustrate the sound of the switch. And that's the sound of the jetpack being turned on. Now let's have a look at the actual flight sound. I used 6 layers to create something as realistic as possible, and at the same time overly powerful, because that was what the game developers wanted. For this part I did a lot of recycling from stuff I had in my library, but it was still a lot of work to get it just right. I first used the missile flyby sound that I previously created for my Guns and Explosion album. And I added a couple of very intense fire sounds with different frequencies and different characteristics that I thought were complementing each other in order to give some aggressivity and roughness to the sound. I also used a flag flapping in the wind to illustrate the flames flapping in the wind, as we can imagine would happen at high altitudes in a windy environment. And to finish, here is the sound of an actual rocket launch that I purchased on NASA's website. There is a very rough and authentic aspect to this sound that is very hard to reproduce artificially. Okay, let's move on to the engine switch-off sound. I used a similar camera sound than the one in the ignition part for the switch, plus some kind of small electric burst like a small overload or something, to add a little bit of imperfection to make it more authentic. Then I imagined that some gas would be expelled when the engine is turned off, like some kind of fuel surplus remaining in the pipes of the engine. To create that effect, I used a fire extinguisher that I recorded a while ago, and a simple balloon. It's amazing all the things you can do with a balloon. I think I used one in my previous tutorial video on how to create your own bow and arrow sound effect. Check out the link on the upper right corner. And to finish, I imagined that the fuel tank would make some cracking noises as the metal would be distorted because of the huge change of temperature once the reactors are switched off after they have been producing a tremendous amount of heat. So here we go. Let's listen to the whole sound effect a couple of times more. That's it. That's my jetpack sound effect.
Thank you for watching. I hope you found the video interesting and maybe even useful for your projects. Let me know in the comment section below if you have any remarks or requests for my next videos. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel. Bye bye.